Hey there, Neoseekers. This is David Ching at E3 2012. I'm here with Dave Woldman of Visceral Games at the EA booth, and he's going to tell us a little bit about Dead Space 3. Could you go ahead?
Sure. You know, in Dead Space 3, we're blowing out all the doors. Everything you've known and loved about Dead Space 1 and Dead Space 2 is coming back. The tight corridors, the real space, real terror, atmosphere, tension, thrill ride, all that's going to be there for you. But in Dead Space 3, we're taking it to another level. More enemies, more guns, more weapons, new open, explorable environments, new storylines, and over-the-top epic action moments, and of course, our new feature, drop-in, drop-out co-op gameplay. Dead Space is there for you. If you're a Dead Space core fan, we got something new for you as well.
I mean, the game looks great in the demos, and
Thank you.
I mean, we definitely got to see a lot of those new features you've been talking about. Can you tell us a little bit more about the new open environments? I mean, obviously, this is on a snow-covered planet. A little bit about the difficulties of maybe switching into this environment, and like what motivated you a little to bring it to this type of environment.
So the motivation part of that question is pretty straightforward. We're fans of our own fiction. What started in the original Dead Space and continued on through Dead Space Extraction, Dead Space 2, the IP extensions of the graphic novels, the comics. All of this was growing the franchise and growing where the necromorph infestation was going on in the world. And so bringing it down to a planetary setting was the next logical step for the story. So Tau Volantis is the planet that you're referring to, which is a frozen necromorph-infested wasteland, which may actually be the key in actually stopping the marker threat in the universe. So as far as the exploration and the gameplay, what we try to do at Visceral is deliver on the expectations of our gamers and our players. So if you're on a planet, you're gonna want to have choice. You're gonna want to be able to determine if I go left, if I go right, and what I can actually take on. And so as far as player choice, that's a big thing that we were able to do when we're moving you on a planet in certain settings that are outside of necessarily the corridors. But the demo that you're seeing starts in Act 2 of the game. So you're picking up right in the middle with the crash landing on the planet. There's a whole act before and a whole act after that we're not actually going into too much detail on.
That planet won't be the only location we'll be seeing in the game.
Absolutely not. We're still Dead Space, so you got to have something up in the sky, right?
Yeah, definitely. So another thing was co-op is definitely a big thing in this game, and you got drop-in and drop-out co-op, which looks phenomenal. Were there any difficulties in bringing those aspects while trying to keep the horror aspect to the game?
Absolutely. So, you know, the challenge of co-op is pretty clear when you're talking about horror and tension. But at the same time, there's an accepted direction that we're going in because of that. So drop in and drop out allows the core Dead Space loyalists, the ones who really want to be by themselves, alone on their couch in the dark, to have the Dead Space experience that they want. And that's, again, the tension, the atmosphere, the necromorphs popping out events, the scare moments, everything that you know about Dead Space. But at the same time, there are certain people who horror isn't necessarily the right thing for them. You know, and we're not backing away from that because the game is still a great horror Dead Space game. But just like going to a horror movie like Friday the 13th, it's a different experience when you go with a friend. You can elbow them in the ribs, you can make a joke, you can lighten the load a little bit, and the tension and the terror is different for each individual.
Definitely.
And that's kind of the final extension of what horror, what's frightening to you and frightening to me are very different things because it lives in your head. The psychology of horror is different, and when you watch people in co-op play, they're sure as hell scared, but they're scared at different times for different reasons.
Definitely, and with having and you've explained to us that the co-op system won't necessarily, we'll get different cutscenes, but we'll still get the same story.
Yes.
So in parts like the QTE events that are very action-packed, how will those play out between the two players? Will they be entirely different, or
Sure, so there's going to be sort of what we're calling the alpha storyline of the game. The direction we're trying to go right now is to answer our fans' questions about Necromorph's marker, the lore, and how they're connected. So on a fictional standpoint, you're going to get those answers regardless if you play in single player or in co-op. But in co-op, we introduce John Carver, and as we do everything in the Dead Space universe, we want to fully develop him and make him a compelling character that people want to play as and emulate or empathize with. And so when you're playing in co-op, you're going to get an entirely different branching story arc that develops John Carver as a character, that helps you understand his position in our universe, his history and past with the necromorph infection, and why he's along for the ride, so to speak.
So, I mean, with co-op, obviously, are you guys implementing any sort of scaling with the game? will the difficulty scale or the amount of enemies scale with the amount of...
Absolutely. You know, game balance and game difficulty is something that fans and gamers all over expect. You know, they don't want to be punished necessarily in a game, and so the introduction of co-op has made the burden on the design and creative teams ever so much stronger, because yes, you're right, a game that is playable and fun and balanced in co-op might not be so in single player without fundamental changes, or at least under the hood changes that'll make the experience more palatable in either game. And so we are taking a very strong approach to do a tuning and balancing pass in single player and co-op, and level on top of that the 4 difficulties that we had made available from Dead Space 2. It's a pretty big design challenge, but it's one we're excited about delivering.
So can we expect this to possibly be the last installment of the Isaac Clarke story in the Dead Space franchise, or can we possibly hope to see more?
Yeah, in some ways that's entirely up to you guys. We are not writing this to be the end of the franchise. We are clearly focused on making Dead Space 3 the best game it can, to tell the best story that it can tell. And so, based on reception, based on the outcry, the more that you want, I would love to make Dead Space until you guys can't take it anymore. But right now, we're not going down the road of ending the franchise.
Well, that sounds great, and we definitely look forward to seeing more content from you guys. Any dates that we can expect any future announcements for?
I'm sorry?
Any future dates we can expect announcements for?
Well, the big announcement this time is that we're going to ship Dead Space 3 in February of 2013 on PC, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3. And as we get closer to our ship date, we're going to reveal more and more about the game that we're making.
We definitely look forward to seeing more.
Great.
Thanks so much,
Thrilled
Dave.
to be here.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.